So I have been wanting to make another video for quite a few days, but I either look terrible or I just don't feel like it. So it's super late. Just dropped my daughter off where she's living right now. And I'm in my car in the dark. You can see my front porch light, and I am being lit by the car light. Anyway, I had an experience tonight while I was driving that reminded me of some things that have happened in my life. I have some really weird experiences, probably because I do things that a normal person would not venture to try. Anyway, our Suburban, about a week ago, the whole assembly for the tail light just fell out. Like, it was hanging by the wires. I tried to stick it back in, and it lasted for, I don't know, a drive, and then it fell out again. So my husband just took it off, and it's sitting in the back seat. So we have the assembly, but it's obviously I don't have a tail light on my right side. So every time I leave the house, especially in the dark, I'm like, I'm gonna get pulled over. So I already have that in my head. But we were driving, I picked up my son from his job and decided to get on the freeway to go pick up my daughter and another son who had gone to the movie. And we're driving along, 65, 70 miles an hour, getting close to our exit, and I look and I'm drinking a milkshake because my sweet, sweet son got me a milkshake. He knows I was having a hard time. So I was drinking my milkshake with one hand, steering with the other hand, worrying about this taillight issue, not with my hand, but with my head. And I look in the rearview mirror and I feel like I'm looking at a police car. But there was a wreck on the other side of the freeway, and I realized that the lights I'm seeing on top of this car are a reflection of the emergency vehicles that are on the other side of the road, on the completely other side of the freeway, going the other direction. So I'm like, here, Levi, hold this. Try to hand him my milkshake. I think that's a policeman behind us. And I'm like, wait, maybe it's not. And then if the lights come on and the siren comes on, I'm like, oh, crap. This is it. This is the moment I've been dreading. And before I can even, put my foot on the brake or anything, the police car, highway patrol, he zips around us, and we're still going 65 miles an hour. He gets right in front of us on the exit and speeds away so fast that rocks are flipping up onto the front of our vehicle. Anyway, I almost lost my milkshake. My adrenaline spiked and my heart was racing. But we didn't get pulled over, so how's that? But it reminded me of another story, one that is super weird, that I'm pretty sure has never happened to anyone else. But if it has happened to you or someone you know, please leave a comment, because I would love to know. I had a friend named Adina, and we were young, single adults. We drove cross country from Washington, D.C. in her uncle's car, my former employer, where I was a nanny, or had been a nanny. And we were going to just go right across the United States, get to Mexico, and then come back up to Arizona, where I worked. We stopped over in California at, I want to say, Yosemite National Park. But I probably should have looked up the facts before I recorded this. We wanted to go through this national park in California. I'm pretty sure it was Yosemite. But it was snowed in. The snow hadn't melted yet, and so we couldn't get up there. We were super disappointed because I had been working for Anasazi, a wilderness survival program for troubled teens, before I went back to visit in Washington, D.C., and then come back to work there again. I was super into wilderness survival, into camping. I was feeling really like nature woman. I could make a fire with the sticks, friction fire, and drink gross water. And anyway, I felt very much like a survivalist, and I could do anything. And we were determined to go camping, and this was going to be our big camping trip. We couldn't go. We had to go around the park. This man at a gas station told us that we could probably camp or hike up into the park a little ways. If we went around this certain way, we would pass a Marine base on the right, and then there would be something on the left. Anyway, we passed the Marine base. We got to where we thought we wanted to be, got out, got all unpacked, and went to go hike up into the wilds. And there's a river that was just hugely swollen and just rushing really fast. And we decided it would be best not to try to cross it. And we're like, well, we'll go across. My teeth look super yellow in this weird light. It's bothering me. I get distracted, as you know. Oh, we crossed the highway. We thought we were well away from the Marine base. Might see where this is going. Went up. It was beautiful. We found this fallen tree that had a really cool root system, and Adina had a photographer. She had a nice camera, and she wanted to take some pictures. We're taking some pictures, and we look up, and we see like a Marine in full gear with a gun and an army vehicle. It was up on a road. We couldn't see the road, but we could see the people on the road because it was up the side of a mountain, basically. So we're like, oh, we don't want to go that way. We gotta get away. We don't want to be by the Marines. So we walked away from the Marine base, just directly away from it, and just having a grand old time. Now, just to give you a picture, I'm 5'10", and I put on weight pretty easily because I love food. I disappeared. I love food. And so I was a little bit chubby, wearing a homemade backpack from thin rope and sticks that I had carved, and I can't remember. I can't remember if it was a leather backpack or if I was using a army green like surplus sleeping bag cover. Anyway, I had a homemade backpack, and she is petite and gorgeous, but way smaller than I was. So there's this huge woman and this petite woman hiking in the middle of nowhere, and we find this beautiful meadow, like Bambi meadow. It's just green grass, and it's open, but it's surrounded by trees. And we were like, this is beautiful. Let's just sit here and enjoy this. I feel like we were leaning against some kind of tree stump in the middle and just kind of basking in the gloriousness of God's nature. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have Marines in full camo, backpacks, gear, whatever. They are shooting something through the meadow. We never figured out what was happening. Some of them started running through the meadow, It was not a huge meadow. It was pretty small as where meadows go, but like I remember hearing something fly by my ear. It was probably rubber bullets, whatever they use for practice. We freaked out and bolted and probably screaming and ran away as fast as we could in the direction of the cars and like dove into some ravine and just it was so bizarre, and we sat there for a while until we were like, we can't stay here, we need to keep hiking away from the Marines and maybe towards the car. We got to a certain point where there was a cliff on one side, and we either camped there or we just went back to the car. And when we were looking around, we found some wildcat footprints. That made the decision for us. We hightailed it back to the car. We did not camp in California. Decided it was just way too dangerous. So that is my story.